So basically, I'm not a speaker or vakta kind of person. So I come from a different background. So it's just that in 2014, I've had many experiences, spiritual experiences, and because of that, I read Shri Aurobindo. I read almost each and every book of Shri Aurobindo in a very short span of time, and it just happened that I had to read, and and so whatever I'll be speaking, it comes partly from the experience and partly from the reading. And later on, I came to know that my grandfather was a devotee of mother. I mean, I knew it, but I came to know about that there are certain diaries which has been written by him, and I didn't know it before. So only after experience I came to know that there are certain diaries which are there. So I went on and I asked my mother that and my father, that, are there any diaries or written by him? So he was like, yeah. And then I came to know that uh, he was doing this sadhana and all these things. So all these jargon, these technical these jargon, I came to know through his diaries, which Sri Aurobindo has used in his integral yoga. So I was very young at that time. I was just 24, 25, and it was very difficult to grasp what has happened to me. So just in order to cross check and verify and all these things, I just went on and on and on and on and kept reading and reading and reading. So that's how it began. So I came to know that my grandfather was a devotee, and even from my mother's side, we are devotee of Mother Nature. So probably it must have been somewhat inherited or whatever. So I don't know. So and this is my great grandfather. So he used to do a lot of work on Gayatri mantra. He was a Ayurvedic physician and all, and he was in Banaras. Great grandfather. Yeah. So he's also written many books on these things, and which is more like a review paper of all ancient scriptures. And the book is called as Tapomay Jivan. So I'll be probably I'll republish it. That's helpful. And this is a picture of me and my mother and my father, actually with Dr. Nirod Baran. So Nirodda was the one who was like a personal assistant to Sri Aurobindo, and when Sri Aurobindo was writing Savitri in the later period of his time, so at, at one point Nirodha wasn't, I mean Sri Aurobindo wasn't able to write himself, so Nirodha used to write whatever comes to Sri Aurobindo. So it was a so we used to visit Sri Aurobindo ashram quite often when we were kids, and a lot of the uh, the technical aspect of integral yoga. That is my picture. Yeah, not my. He's also there, but it must be in some other picture. So that was Nirodha's room. So we used to go there quite often, and a lot of ashram people know him. Like he devoted his life, and he studied at Edinburgh, and he was a uh, doctor by profession. Yeah. So this is another picture of me with Monada. Monada was also in Sri Aurobindo ashram. So when I had these experiences, I was like very much eager to meet people and express myself and discuss. And so Monada, I mean, I was fortunate enough that Monada gave me time and I got to meet him. And so I met him, and he very graciously listened to me and my whole story. So and later on gave me a lot of books, including Supreme, this book by the name of Supreme. So yeah, this is our Dhyan Kaksh at our place in UP. So this is a meditation hall. So at our house, Shayanpur. So yeah, it's near Bareilly. Okay, okay, okay. So so this is sort of background which I have, and yeah. So the idea of Gayatri month basically I chose it because it is. I would say. I mean, in my humble opinion, it is like whatever Shri Aurobindo has written. It's all about human evolution and human condition. So, and whatever he has experienced, and he sort of rediscovered the truth which the rishis originally have discovered a long time back. And then he sort of reframed those truth in English language, and so that we can now understand them instead of Sanskrit. So I would say that all these Sanskrit terminology and the Sanskrit language, uh, which has so much of data of these mystical concepts which are lost in time, Sri Aurobindo has rediscovered and then sort of recorded them in his own words. So which we have now in Savitri. So I would say Savitri and Gayatri is the same sort of thing, and it is all about human journey, human evolution, and then rediscovering human consciousness, and experiencing what actually consciousness is. So Gayatri Mantra is something which we all know, like it is Tat Savitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimai Dhiyo Yona Prachodayat. But before explaining or before going in detail, I would like to read something from the Upanishads, actually, which Aurobindo has written. And he has divided Upanishad in many parts, and in last chapter in fact, he has divided Upanishad in uh, four sections. And in last part, he has written this chapter called as the transfiguration of self and the gods. So I'll be reading something from this and then I'll come back to Gayatri Mantra. So this is the stage after attaining the silence. Like what will happen if one has sort of attained to Gayatri Mantra, what is if one has reached Gayatri Mantra, whatever. Because nowadays we are not in common practice, we don't read Vedas, or because that is something which is not there in our common practice. So what we do is we basically sort of get some knowledge from here, from there, from YouTube or shorts or whatever. So we're not going in detail. So he has written something here, which is what will happen after gaining these experiences. So this is the silence which has fallen on them, meaning on the senses, on our senses. The silence which has fallen on them and which is now their foundation and status will become their knowledge of the eternal silence, which is the Brahman. So basically, the whole exercise of meditation and whole endeavor of meditation and all these things is to get to the stage where we can enter this silence. And this silence is what rishis have discovered, and they have termed this silence as Brahman, and now people may call it God or whatever. But ultimately it's our own state wherein we'll experience the word in terms of not just as forms as we can see right now, but in terms of mind. So that's what he's written here. So the silence which has fallen on them and which is now their foundation and status will become their knowledge of the eternal silence, which is Brahman. The response of their functioning to a supernal light, power, joy will become their knowledge of the eternal activity, which is Brahman. Then he adds that the mind will know nothing but the Brahman, think of nothing but the Brahman. The life will move to embrace, enjoy nothing but the Brahman. The eye will see, the ear hear, the other senses nothing but the Brahman. But is then a complete oblivion of the external the goal? But he doesn't sort of remove that external won't persist or it won't exist if we reach to that state. So he adds that must the mind and sense recede inward and fall into an unending trance, and the life be forever still. This is possible if the soul so will, but it is not inevitable and indispensable. So he further adds that the mind, so it's all about discovering the true nature of mind through these psychological terms. Like I would say that these are psychological formulas. These Gayatri mantra, or there are a lot of mantras. So all these are psychological formulas wherein we can actually evolve using them and get to the point where we'll actually totally liberate ourselves from the burden of the mind itself. So then it says, and then we'll discover the true nature of ourselves, that is the true nature of mind, which he adds and writes here. The mind is cosmic, one in all. The mind is cosmic, one in all the universe. So too are the life and the sense. So too is the matter of the body. And when they exist, and for the Brahman only, they will not only know this, but will sense, feel, and live in that universal unity. So now we talk a lot about unity and all these big terms, especially when there are things like war, and in the recent times the politicians have used this term a lot, that we should have this, that, unity, blah blah blah. But I would say in the past 100 years or so, apart from Sri Aurobindo, no one has written about universal unity and human unity as elaborated as what he has written and depicted in his literature. It's just that people don't have time to read and go through all these texts. So Gayatri Mantra is basically essentially the psychological framework to achieve that unity, to gain and to elevate your own thoughts and your wisdom to get to the point where we will reach the unity. So he writes here, when they exist and for the Brahman only, they will not only know this, but will sense, feel, and live in that universal unity. Therefore, to whatever thing they turn, which to the individual sense and mind and life seems now external to them, there also it is not the mere form of things which they will know, think of, sense, embrace, and enjoy, but always and only the Brahman. Moreover, he writes that the external will cease to exist, means the external which we are getting from our sensory devices, it will cease, it will stop to exist as it exists now, as we see them now. Moreover, the external will cease to exist for them because nothing will be external, but all things internal to us. So as we mature and as we grow in our meditation, we will feel that all these external things, even not just the human beings and the forms, but in totality all these earth shapes. So Gayatri Mantra is basically the union of earth principle to the cosmic principle. And that's what Shirindra has written. So he has used this word earth principle invariably in all these texts if one reads it. So so he writes here, moreover, the external will cease to exist for them because nothing will be external, but all things internal to us, even the whole world and all that is in it. So it's one of the biggest claims, by the way. To get all the world inside you is one of the biggest claims that a human being can make. But he's going to make, and he has made it. So, and why? Because the limit of ego, the wall of individuality will break. So that's essentially Gayatri Mantra is. When it is written that Bhargo Devas Sadhimai Diyo Yona Prachodayat. So and Dhimai is basically the intellect is not broken right now when we are awake and when we are in waking state. So when we by the method of concentration, when we break our intellect eventually, then only we'll move from this earth, which is in the Vedic terminology, which is known as Bhu, which is the earth principle as Sri Aurobindo has written. So he writes here, for the limit of ego, the wall of individuality will break, the individual mind will cease to know itself as individual. So then individual mind will come out of his shell, which he has been living, or she or whatever has been living for on, I don't know, like 5,000, 8 lakh or whatever. 84 लाख कितनी बताएगी योनिया उसके बाद निकलने की so it will grow and to the part where it will experience the entire world in itself, and that is precisely what a spiritual experience is. So it will conscious only of universal mind, one everywhere, in which individuals are only knots of one mentality. So that is where what the oneness is. So people are advocating about oneness and and all these big words, but I don't think that apart from Sri Aurobindo, anyone has written about oneness and all these big things in such elaborated way and detail. So it will be conscious only of the universal mind, one everywhere, in which individuals are only knots of the one mentality. So the individual life will lose its sense of separateness. So the separateness will be lost, and there won't be any separate sort of ego base there. But whatever we will be experiencing, we'll be experiencing in terms of mind. So we'll feel this universe as speech. We'll feel this universe as sound. We'll feel this universe as thoughts. We'll experience ourselves as the eternal activity, which is Brahman. So that's what Gayatri Mantra is all about. So mind everywhere in which individuals are only nodes of one mentality. So the individual life will lose its sense of separateness and live only in and as the one life in which all individuals are simply worlds of the indivisible flood of pranic activity. And then he further adds, the very body and senses will be no longer conscious of a separate existence. So there won't be any separateness. So there won't be any separateness, but the real body which the man will feel himself. This is again one of the biggest claims. But the real body which the man will feel himself to be physically will be the whole earth. So that's how we will discover the consciousness inside when we reach and when we grow in our meditation. But the real body which the man will feel himself to be physically will be the whole earth and the whole universe and the whole indivisible form of things. इसी को कहा गया भर्गो देवस रूपम ज्योति वरम रूपम ज्योति, that this is the godliest form of Surya, which mind will attain to when it will reach to that state. So, and which is indivisible. Right now, the earth power. I mean, if we go and if we forget about our Western education, and if we, let's say, we were all 10 or 14 years, and then we start reading what Indian education system was. So, Indian education system was all about Western education is all about dissecting and follow or kato and then read, and the Indian education was all about uh, experiencing, get the experience first and get to the tattva of the thing, and then know what it is. So, in fact, in Life Divine, Shri Aurobindo has written this chapter on knowledge by identity. So that is the crux of integral yoga. If one wants to read it. So knowledge by identity is basically tattva gyan only. So then he adds that the whole indivisible form of things wheresoever existent, and the senses also will be converted to this principle of sensation, so that even in what we call external, the eye will see Brahman only in every sight, the ear will hear Brahman only in every sound, the inner and outer body will feel Brahman only in every touch, and as if internal in the greater body. So this is the discovery of Sukshma Sharir, the greater body which is sort of hidden inside. So again coming back to Gayatri one, so it's about the union of Sthul Sharir to the Sukshma Sharir, which Sri Aurobindo has written. So you can explain it in many ways actually, if one looks at it. So so when these sensory devices, when the silence falls upon them, so then you sort of enters into what is hidden, and that hidden part is always I mean, we are unconscious of that hidden body, but that part is ever growing, and that is Brahman. So the body will feel Brahman in every touch, and the touch itself, as if the internal in the greater body. The soul whose gods are thus converted to this supreme law and religion will realize in the cosmos itself and in all its multiplicity the truth of the one besides whom there is no other or second. So this is the Upanishad's one without second. So moreover, becoming one with the formless and infinite, it will exceed the universe itself and see all the world not as external, not even as commensurate with itself, but as if within it. So I read this because just to give the idea, like what he has achieved, and through his personal efforts, and what he has written for all of us. And and even as for the Gayatri Mantra, I'm sure like everyone knows what Gayatri Mantra is, and this is from the Shri explained Upanishads. Yeah, and the Upanishads, and in which, so he what he has done is he has like Isha Upanishad and Gayatri is the same thing. This is his writing. Yeah. This is from the chapter Transfiguration of Gods, Transfiguration of Self and Gods. Yeah. So he has written in Upanishads. He has reframed and he has given his own headings to all these different sections, and then how we sort of, so that we can now in 20th century we can read and understand them. Otherwise, this will be lost. I mean, if you don't read, and eventually it will be gone out of our memories. So that's why he has written I always say that it's stored in English language, not written, because each term is an experience. Like whatever he has written is basically, each term is an experience if you look at it. So so Gayatri Mantra, like everyone knows. So I'm not going to tell like what Gayatri Mantra is. There are many YouTube talks or whatever shorts and this that. So it's there, but I just want to interpret it in the light of Shervindo's writing, because I'm quite sure that whatever is there and written, in YouTube or whatever people are telling, they don't even know what what actually their experience is. So we are fortunate enough that we have got the uh, contact of the real master. So and even at the present time, whatever, there are lots of people doing a lot of talks and big, but I'm pretty much sure that they don't know what the real experience is. So, but uh, the good part about his writings is that if you read it, he's always sort of his approach is very scientific, and for every line of claim that he has made, he has reinforced it with the argument. And people mostly they can't understand it because there are many technical jargon. He hasn't just written something which is coming out of him or whatever, but he has given a technical bent to it, so that like the old times, the rishis were also, because they knew that their knowledge is not secret enough. Yeah, I mean, so that's why he has written it like that. So uh, like this is few of the entries from Record of Yoga. So Record of Yoga is one of his books wherein he has written, like that's his personal diary. Like assuming he's writing Savitri, right, and he's writing Light Divine, he's writing whatever, and then he's writing Record of Yoga as well. But in Record of Yoga, he has used all these Vedic terms, and in Savitri he has used the English language, but the thing is same. So it's one of the entries from his Record of Yoga. Record of Yoga is like what personally he has been experiencing, and he's been jotting down, like a lot of people do. So it's related to Gayatri Mantra only. So it says that, it's very mystical because it's his personal diary, and that too in the later stages. So you can probably experience where he will be. So he writes here that the consciousness now lives chiefly in the bhuvar lower and higher, but not actively in the pradeep or swar. It has to raise itself to these altitudes. So that's his diary. Now, if we look at it, so basically, I'm assuming that here's the person who has already reached the silence. He's gotten the silence. So when you get the silence, you will feel the entire earth as yourself. So that will be the culmination of bhu part. So the bhu is something which is, I mean, these terms are not English terms, so that's why we got mistaken in that we sort of interpret them in terms of English language and the Western education. But in fact, these are the formulas for evolution. Like all these terms, bhu, bhuvar, swar, all these. So, and they depict the lokas or loks actually. Lokas is basically English, but it's lok. So this is so all these are lok, like Swarg lok and all these things. So Sri Aurobindo is explained this as lok as simply as plane of experience. Like this is one plane of experience where we are right now, and then there are many other plane of experience. So basically, when you do all these things, so first of all, now in our generation, if I want to explain it to anyone, so they'll ask, कि भाई से फायदा क्या होगा? So what is the utility of all this? So again, so the utility of all this is to get to the unity. So like if we if we consider unity as the highest utility, then it's utility. Otherwise, it's waste. So, so to rediscover the Unitarian principle within ourselves is the goal of integral yoga, because integral yoga aims at making the man complete, and in terms of getting that Purna state, which has been written in our this mantra also, Purnamida, Purnamidam, Purnasya, Purnamadaya, Purnameva Shishite, that sort of thing. So this Purna sthiti is basically the integral part of integral yoga, and which corresponds to the Purushottam of Bhagavad Gita. So all these are psychological states that one has to reach, if one obviously if one has time and will to do this. It's not compulsory. So from record of yoga, it's written that the consciousness now lives chiefly in the bhuva lower and higher, but not actively in the pradiv or swar. It has to raise itself to all these altitudes. Now again he writes here, so that he keeps writing whatever changes and evolve, the new principle that he receives or he gains to in his diaries. And if you read these diaries, they are essentially very mystical and also full of knowledge, and his personal grasp on all these things. So he writes here that perceptive thought still fails to attain authority, though it presses towards authority. Telepathy of thought is still rough and wanting in fineness and firmness. It is also crossed by the perception of ideas from the pranamaya, manomaya, and bhumaya beings which besiege our activities. So, Gayatri Mantra is all about as I said, it's all about the evolution of the mental being, our own mental being, to the point where it reaches the unity. And as it gets to the point where it reaches the unity, it will inevitably experience all these things. I mean, there's no other method, because law will be the same. So he writes that the telepathy of thought, obviously, it will discover the thought which is all uniting, the perception which is all uniting, and all these latent powers of mind will eventually erupt as the silence fall on our senses, and then we'll experience what is termed as immortality, because we'll experience ourselves as mind, as the eternal activity. And while experiencing these things, he has written all these things. So now here is ideas from the pranamaya, manomaya, bhurmaya beings. So all these are definitely not just earth, but he has learned himself how to go beyond the earth and to other planes of life, other regions, and then he keeps writing about them also. So again, he writes, the Anand holds from the sortileges of June 10, 12th are fulfilled, and since safety of gains assure whatever interruptions or cloudings there may be, the Ananda is done, which is so again all these bhavs and Anandas he has written in his personal diaries, and because all these hidden powers, they only uplift this mentality to the point where it will reach the unity. So, yeah, 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 the unity in very simple terms is that going beyond the state of forms which we are experiencing right now, and getting to the cosmic principle which is hidden in our whole self, and going beyond the earth principle, which is like usually when we experience ourselves, we like here the consciousness is कहते हैं ना ये अखंड ज्योति. So akhand is something which is unity, and khandit is right now. Yeah, time में हर चीज divided है, and like even here like people are sitting, कोई 70 साल का है, कोई 20 साल, कोई 30 साल. So it's all divided. But when you get to the point, when you reach in your mind and you go all these states, so I have to explain other things like waking mind, then dream mind, then sleeping mind, and then turiya and all these things. So then only you will reach the unity. Yeah. So waking mind में क्या है कि सब चीजें ऐसी हैं, and then you go to the dream mind, then you go to the dreamless sleep, then you go to the sleep mind, and then you will reach unity. So I'm saying unity because unity is the eternal activity which is Brahma, and unity means experiencing yourself in terms of mind, experiencing yourself in terms of mind. So even in Savitri, if you read, he has written, he has used these terms like thought sounds. So he has started to experience the world in terms of thoughts, in terms of images, in terms of voices, in terms of shapes. So mind has rediscovered its own eternal principle as opposed to the earth principle, which is right now. I'm about I would explain. Yeah. So the connection with the senses. Yes. So you can once again elaborate in the earlier context of unity. Yeah. So how are senses, you said, senses of our own, yeah, five senses, they tend to unite with. Yes. So he is written. So in his yoga is basically it proceeds with the usually in other yogas you get to the silence and you call it nirvana, and that's the end. In his yoga it begins with nirvana, and then later on you will start receiving, and there will be the transformation of sensory devices. So he is written here, no? So uh, Brahman only every the eye will see. Eye is what? Eye sense organ, right? So the eye will see Brahman in every sight. So the sum total of sightings that we are having in waking mind, that will be Brahman. The ear will hear. That is what? Again a sensory organ, right? So the ear will hear only Brahman in every sound. So it doesn't matter it's coming from him and here, her or that. So it will all be thought sounds. So that is the state of unity. Yeah. And the inner and outer body will feel Brahman in every touch. So as you grow in meditation, and of course with His grace and Mother's grace only it will be possible. You can't do it yourself. So so that is the technical aspect of his yoga. And honestly, what he has written is very technical. I mean, it's not that easy that listening to one YouTube lecture and like people claim right now with all these babas. So it's not that simple. So it'll take a lot of time and effort and to get to these states of consciousness and what he has written. But I can safely say that no one has explained the term consciousness as much as he has done it. So I mean, I would say that if one really wants to, get to the secret of the things, then Sri Aurobindo is the best person to read and meditate upon. Intellectual component, whatever you express, yeah, or whatever here we can get the intellectual comprehension of it. Yes. But I'm not sure whether I really understood. Yeah. Yeah. Secondly, it is finally it is experiential. It is experiential. If I don't experience that, it will become frustrating at points, and yeah. Not frustrating, then we are not started. No. So it is, finally it comes to that, but again, for the experiential, it means meditation is compulsory and essential. For what? For to reach that. See, I would say start on the path. I don't want to say that meditation is I mean, we are anyways at at one point or other meditating. I mean, let's say you are doing some job, and so when you are concentrating and there's a problem, then obviously what will do, you'll keep away all your thoughts and you'll be med. So that's meditation. So it's something which is already latent in ourselves. It's not something which we are borrowing it from somewhere else.
So what we normally understand when you just sit down and think or
That is
that's more of a
yeah.
narrow meaning of it.
I won't use narrow, but I would say that it is something which is I mean, it's there. It's not like you do not have to hype it. It's something which has our own property. Like ये हमारी छुपी हुई प्रॉपर्टी है ना, so it's only latent. It's not. It's just that we have to rediscover it, and when we rediscover it, we will see that it's there in the human being. It's there in Manushya. So you don't have to. The more we sort of hype it and the more we make a lot of fuss about it, it becomes something which is very, away from us. The more we make it intimate and as a part of our own thing, that अच्छा ये तो मुझे आता ही है, ये तो मैं कर लूँ, that sort of, then it becomes sort of, very friendly, and कि this is my own part. ये तो पैदा ही जनजाति है ना, because that's our thing. I mean, the sleep.
It's about the God of blue laws. Person died and it is in prison. Most of it we can't make out what that is. But in
Yeah,
the
here is this
so
thing.
I understand that. But when he died,
Yeah.
out of nowhere personality got discovered later on. Of this modern method, we have been later on. Because many Android told you to read that. They did not.
Yeah, so here it's written the removal of Nidra, the release of Shakti from Sushupti and perfection of Vishwagati in the two regions of Sukshma and Sthul, Bhur, Bhuvar and Sor. I'm reading this because this is what it is. I mean, you can't. It doesn't matter. It's 21st century and whatever. These things will be there from. These are eternal, facts, and you can't just tweak them here and there. They will be like that because that's our own part. So this is what when it comes to your question, this is what happens when this is this is when you reach the unity. So when you get to the meditation, there Shirindu right, will be a point when we will overcome sleep. So he writes here that the removal of nidra, and when this sleep will be broken, there will be release of shakti from Sushupti and the perfection of Vishwagati in the two regions of Sukshma and Sthul. So Sthul and Sukshma का ही जो मिलन है is the unity. Yeah.
Like, how do we recognize this with this teaching and all that? Online thing, I can convert every activity into
Yeah.
line item or how do I go to this? What we are talking about, and how do I transcribe or transform the life day to day life?
I would say the day-to-day life is a product of your physical mind, मतलब mostly, and then this is a separate endeavor. I mean, so what we can do probably is that आधे एक घंटे के लिए we can delve into these secrets or whatever parts of being, and then later on जितना time बचा है we'll be doing our own work. So I mean, we are not divorcing it from what we are.
They are
Yeah,
not opposite.
yeah, they're not opposite. So it's a, because as I said, the more we make less fuss about these things, the less hype and make it more intimate, the more easy it will be for us to read through all these Sri Aurobindo's works and get to the point where he has sort of written what he has achieved mystically. I definitely want to add that in terms of reading or writing, what you can do, like in my case, what I've experienced, that after these experiences, I never had written any poem or whatever, but after this, there's an eruption of these poetry that came to me after. So I think each one of us is different in terms of mental makeups, whatever is given inside us. So So Sri Aurobindo will mold each one of us differently. कि भाई ये तुम ये कर लो तुम ये कर. So that's all. Yes, 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 yes. So everything is latent because eventually everything is mind. So that's one of the realizations in our scriptures, that whatever we are seeing, whatever we are hearing, whatever we are feeling, whatever is all, everything is mind. And in Shirvando's integral yoga, we first reach the level of mind, and then he has written another thing like illumined mind, higher mind, over mind, super mind. So then so he is the only one who gets all these layers of mind, similar to the rishis of the Vedas. जो अभी जो चल रहा है इतना पता नहीं क्या है वो सब. So but तो so he is like one of the few people in 20th century who has done what in the past time people have reached.
The way you speak, things like that. You have already had some recent or experience of emotional movements.
Yeah.
Share that. In the context of today's without breaking the flow, the person who has this experience, sorry, I will talk like if that was not, then
Yeah.
somebody would talk very fluently and give the knowledge, but you wait, you want to relate that to your experience and then talk.
Yeah, I've had many experiences. I mean, I don't, I'm not going to lie about it. So, I've had many experiences actually. I was working at IIT Kanpur, and so after coming back from London, I was in sort of comparing both the civilizations for reason. I don't know why. So, and then, so yeah, one day I had many experiences, and for around 3 days and 3 nights. So I've had vigorous experiences, and I couldn't sleep. I didn't eat, and I didn't. Just that I was just reading, and I was speaking only with my mom actually. So I was telling them that this is what is happening to me, and
Before that, you had no experience.
no, no, no. I made Nirodha and all this, so everything was there latent. So yeah,
It was somewhere.
eruption. It was a blast. So it was.
But everybody is not fortunate.
I don't. I can't. I mean, I've been thinking about all these things for around 10 years, but I have no answer. so so you can't. And that too, I'm from a science background. Imagine that. So it will be very difficult because coming
But
from a
you were
science.
facing the questions internally before that.
No, not really.
Not even.
No, but yeah,
What
well,
is the
yeah. After coming from Europe, I was.
You
Yeah.
started questioning.
Yes. Yes.
There was onslaught of you. And then you had.
I wouldn't say onslaught, but I would. I mean, I would say that it was a sort of analysis. Yeah. कि भाई, what
You
is?
were possessed.
Yeah. What?
I said you were possessed. Possessed? With something.
No, not possessed, but I was experiencing what is written in Sri Aurobindo's writing.
But that you had not read before.
No. So what happened was like there are many things I can't speak because if I speak, it will take a lot of time, and I've written all these things in my book, like diaries, and I can share you poems if they come. But what I can tell you is that I've heard the word, and when you say the word with the capital word in the Savitri is not the word which our mind keeps regurgitating. It's not the same thing. That word is not product of our memory. And when I was going in the meditation, so there came a point where I felt like I was going to lose my body, and then I heard the word, and it was you must dismiss the fear of concentration, and the emptiness that you are feeling is the emptiness you're feeling because of thoughts, and so all these things are written by Sri Aurobindo. And somehow I wrote typed something, and there was this web page by Mr. Bernard. So later on I came to know this Bernard guy was Satprem, and I was reading his what is that blog. Yeah, so I was reading his blog, and in his blog, for the first time, what I heard, it was written there. So Shirvindo is written in the section of experience of cosmic consciousness, what I've heard. So that word is what I've heard, and then I just didn't stop. It just keep happening, and then I was here and there. And I met Dr. Karan Singh a couple of times after that, and I was just telling them all these things. And so I sort of, I would say, received something which is not in a very intimate fashion, and then later on it flowered into poetry and all. But I've been doing all these sketches of Mother and Shivindo since childhood, so it's not something new to me. The whole the concept of meditation, but those 3 days were something else, and yeah, because of that I. But then later on I read a lot of, and there were many difficulties, as in because uh, we are from this pizza burger generation, and that we're not that kind of people, so we don't really read all these things in our curriculum. But I was sort of uh, under I don't know, some kind of haste to read and finish all these texts, I would say.
So your deep dive into the reading happened after the reading.
After this. And yeah, and and after these experiences, the first thing I read was the letters, the many letters of Shiva, and it was like the direct, because ultimately our minds is made up of words. This part is only words, if you think about it. So words, thoughts, speech, sounds, यही भरा हुआ है, कुछ है नहीं. But physically is what we are, वो biomedical में हम लोग अब theory print कर लेंगे 100 साल बाद. So but they have discovered the subtle being, right? So so yeah, so I would say that. But then I eventually, you tend to, because I also heard these contemporary people, all these people who are right now here, and so I would say that since we are in Shirvindo's yoga, I would say that no one has, because I have read everyone, Krishnamurti and everything, whatever is there in the possible can be read, I've read. So I would say that no one has written about these things, about the metaphysical concepts, as clear cut and rational, and with proper logical manner as Shirvina did. So if you are here, I mean, if all of us are here, we should stick with it, because what he is going to give is far far greater than what others can even comprehend and think about. Because his yoga is beautiful, and it's not something which is just doing some focus sadhana. It's about developing your being in a complete manner. That's why he used to tell people to write, to read Napoleon, to play, to do poetry and arts. So he wants a complete being, who can uh, walk in his path. So
So has been derailed by our.
no, that's all right. That happens. This is all his writings. I just compiled them, because from the Upanishads, whatever he has written, it's been hither and thither, here and there. So he has touched upon all these Vedic terms, by the way. Not people just read Savitri in English because they think that this is just ordinary English poem. It's not. It is something which is ancient and which is as big as Buddha's experience, probably more. So it's not something which is as straightforward as people would think. So
What is the higher world?
higher worlds are basically is something which he has mentioned. It has to be experienced. So we can't do that right now. I mean, but these things are. This is where the faith part comes in. If you have the faith in your master, and if you really believe in them, it's not, as I said, it's not something which is under any obligation or compulsion. If you really want to believe in or have faith, then only you can experience these things. But these higher worlds are basically as we have forms of waking mind, like we are right now. Similarly, we have forms of dream mind. Similarly, we have forms of sleep, and until it gets to the nirvana. So, so Shirundo's higher worlds are. Adding the word Shirundo's higher world because each has his own path. You know how the guru takes you from the mind, and the mind becomes the path. So all these things are quite different in different people's vision and works. Like what Shirindo has found is basically as like there's a term in Savitri where he is mentioned. What is that? Yes, yeah, vital Edens or something like that. So like what I'm saying is like these are, and if you read his letters that he has written to Anil Baran Roy and Dilip Kumar Roy in later stages, and even this English guy, what's his name, Krishna Prem, Yogi Krishna Prem, yeah. So you will find that what are these words and what exactly what he wanted to tell them. So, but as I said, that these are all experience, and so one has to experience them. And even some of it came to the drawings of Hota, and you might see the images, which are coming from the other regions and whatever. And even in music and poetry and all these things. So higher world is basically something which is not evident to our senses, but which is something which one has to aspire for, and to aspire for we have to have faith on our master. So that's the best I can say.
Can you explain the last one? Because
This, yeah. So union of earth principle. Yeah, yeah. Where is this symbol? We have symbol here. No. Yeah. So this symbol is this. Yeah. So this symbol is there are two triangles, right? So the lower triangle is the earth principle, and the higher triangle is the yeah. And the water in between is the multiplicity. Like multiplicity is all of us here right now. Me, you and me is different. So everything is moving. This is the multiplicity.
I think next round we talk about this.
So this is the lower triangle is the basically the body, the mental body made by our senses, all these devices, and the higher is something which we will ascend to. So this union is all about the Gayatri. So the earth principle has its own law, by the way. Like the mental being will take form, will mature, reproduce, make life, and blah blah blah. And the higher mental being has his own law, which we have to discover.
It's also actually explain the process.
Yeah, this is the
After the moment,
yeah. Well, this oneness is basically is what is defined by in Isha Upanishad as the Isha, and or he, the capital term, or he or Saha, SAH. So these are the terms to because usually when you have these experiences, you can't put a label because it's not objective. So in terms of that's why we have this English term God. I mean, otherwise there's no need. So, so the Surya is basically the Indian knowledge system is all about the evolution of mental being, and in mental being there are many purushas. That is what is written, and eventually we'll get to Satya Purush. So we go from this Pranamaya, Manomaya, and all these purushas, and eventually we'll get to the point where we'll get to the highest of the Purusha. And this Purusha is supposed to is something which is nameless, it doesn't have form, it doesn't have this. Right? But when you really think about it, when you go into meditation, so if you look at your own body and this part, so you will see that even in this part, it doesn't have a name, it moves everywhere, it goes. So these are the discoveries which people have made in their own bodies. It's not, you can't, because in next life also this will be the body, right? So all these things here Indo has written in detail in letters. So he has explained this term as mental space between the brow. The mental space is termed as Chittakash, and then there's Chidakash and all these Akash. So the Purusha is something which is the sense of I am. Like right now, the sense of I am is divided. Like I'm Saumyam, you're this and that. So the Purusha is that part which has sense of I am in everywhere, which is like what is Shivoham is the same thing as this thing, and is the same thing as Lord of the Isha. So this